I would ask everyone to rise for the grand entry. Her Honor, the Honorable Dr. Linda Haverstock, Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, and His Honor, Harley.
It was a day to mark two historic milestones: the 100th anniversary of the first sitting of the Saskatchewan Legislature, and the very first recognition of treaties and the treaty relationship. Her Majesty's representative was joined by First Nations chiefs, elders, veterans, members of the judiciary, the RCMP, the Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly, and government dignitaries from Manitoba, Nunavut, and the Northwest Territories. They were here to witness the placing of new symbols in the legislature, a beaded runner and pillow for the mace. The mace is the ceremonial staff the Sergeant-at-Arms carries into the chamber each sitting day, representing Canada's constitutional monarchy. But the monarchy is one of two signatories that allowed settlement of the land that became Saskatchewan. The new symbols are designed to recognize the province's First Peoples, the treaties, and the treaty relationship. The ceremony began with the vice-regal salute and a blend of the province's other historical rituals.
The beautiful mace runner and the pillow will adorn this chamber and will remind all who have the privilege of serving here of our responsibility to honor our ancestors, our relationship with this magnificent land and with each other, and to be good stewards of our extraordinary blessings.
I hope this mace runner will serve as a reminder that these treaties and the benefits that come with them are as much yours as they are mine.
The chief of the Federation of Saskatchewan Indian Nations said the ceremony is about more than symbols.
It must also be a reminder of the obligation and duties established by treaty, such as hunting, fishing, and access to lands and resources in traditional territories. As laws are made in this chamber, these rights must be respected and recognized, and issues are debated. We must all remain accountable to the treaty relationship. I am encouraged that the issues of our people are becoming issues here in this chamber, and therefore becoming issues for all people of the province. I am optimistic that this will continue as the presence and the strength of our peoples grow. We must all look to the treaties for guidance in a relationship between First Nations and the Crown. The future for all of us depends on it.
I would now like to introduce the Honourable Judge David Arnott, Treaty Commissioner of Saskatchewan.
Thank you. Good morning. To the Dene, I say Eltanete. To the Soto, I say Anin Jugwa. To the Cree, Tansei Miakisakau, Nanaskomau Kotawino. I thank the Creator for a beautiful day, a very great day, a historic day here in this House. Treaties number 4, 5, 6, and 8, and 10 cover every square meter of our province, with a promise that goes with that sacred blanket. And the promise is that we will work together for mutual benefit, out of mutual respect, and live in harmony. The treaties are sacred covenants that blanket our province. In the words of our elder Elma Kaitwahat, Tipamatuan, Kakio, Akanawa, Pamkuya, we are all treaty people.
The province's treaty commissioner, representing the federal office of the treaty commissioner, called for renewed respect among First Nations and non-First Nations people. He also talked about hope.
The first treaty commissioner, Alexander Morse, had a lot of hope. In fact, he said on August the 16th, 1876 at Fort Carleton, just north of Saskatoon, "What I hope we will do today is for the future. What I hope you will take the treaties will last as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow." Chief Atakakoop spoke at Treaty 6 negotiations, and he similarly had hope. He talked about the children of the day, and he talked about the children yet to come. In other words, he had hope for the future. And as Treaty Commissioner here today in Saskatchewan, I have hope. I have a lot of hope. It's based on the treaties and the treaty relationship. My hope is that the First Nations in Saskatchewan and in Canada will share in the peace, the prosperity, and the harmony that's the very essence of our country. My hope is that the treaties will be implemented according to the spirit and intent of treaties. My hope is that the First Nations, the treaties, and the treaty relationship will take its rightful place in the Canadian state. And that hope that I'm talking about is right here in this room with us today, because that hope that I have is in your hearts and in your hands. Kananaskom tino au kakio, ekose, hi hi. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Judge Arnott, for those profound words. Tapui kasuhas tiwa, tipamatuna, kispinkakio gutsnagatuhia, digunanihe. I would now like to introduce Florence Highway, a member of the Peter Ballantyne First Cree Nation in Northwest Saskatchewan. Florence is the very talented artist who created the Treaties Forever traditionally crafted beaded moose hide runner that is being presented today. It will stand as a reminder to future generations of the rich heritage and history of the First Nations people in this province.
The sun, grass, and river represent the eternal treaty relationship between First Nations and non-First Nations people. The creator of the runner gave credit to her parents.
In our formative years, our parents, Maggie and William Highway, instilled in us very strong guiding values and work ethics. Mother always told us, translation: to never do anything halfway. If you do, then don't do it at all. My mother's work was very meticulous. Thus her words of wisdom are always with me when I do my work.
This song is sometimes called the treaty song, which makes it very fitting for today's ceremony. I would ask everyone to stand.
On behalf of the Legislature of Saskatchewan, I accept this gift.
The head of the mace will rest upon a cushion made of beaver pelt backed by moose hide. The beaver pelt is a symbol of the important role played by the trading of furs in forging a relationship between First Nations and European settlers, and in the expansion of settlement in the West.
From now on, they will form the foundation of the Mace, just as the First Nations peoples form the foundation of this province. And they should forever serve as a reminder to all of us who work in this assembly and the thousands of people who visit this chamber each year of the historic, significant role First Nations peoples and the treaties have played in the creation of the province of Saskatchewan. And surely it must be our hope today that when our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren come together to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the first sitting of this legislature, the relationship will be firm and the Mace runner will be in place. We have taken our name from the Cree, Saskatchewan, swift flowing waters. You have given us the symbol of the sun, the everlasting symbol of life. May that sun continue to shine on the province and the people of Saskatchewan. And may this land of swift flowing waters be a land for all.
The leader of the opposition reminded the audience that at the very first sitting of the legislature, exactly 100 years ago, there was no mention of First Nations people, of treaties, or the treaty relationship.
This beaded moosehide, mace runner, and beaver pelted cushion we accept today will serve as a constant reminder of the need to respect those who have for too long, often been ignored. It will be our first symbol reminding us of treaties, those living documents between sovereign nations that bind us together in respect and obligation. It reminds me very personally that I have been taught here in our great education system in Saskatchewan about the great historic treaties of Versailles and Kent, but I was not taught about Treaty 4, the treaty that allows my wife and I now to own a home in Swift Current, the treaties that allowed for this building to be here on this land. In a recent speech by the recording artist and activist Bono, he said something that sticks with me still. He said that every age has its massive moral blind spots. We may not see them, but our children will. I hope that our children will look back on this day and they will see that we have addressed very formally a moral blind spot of our history. They may find other moral blind spots that we cannot or will not see today, but I hope they will see the action taken both symbolically and in real terms today as well.
Ultimately, the Mace Runner ceremony was designed as a catalyst for change, to revisit our collective history and renew the treaty relationship between First Nations and non-First Nations people in Saskatchewan. A relationship all agree will last as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow.